everyone, it is Larry here at LC Model Shipbuilding, and this episode we're going to be working on the second half of the poop deck. Came out pretty decently. I did decide about halfway through that I was going to go with the 3D printed version of the docking bridge, so everything I show at the first half of the video would be great if you're planning on using the Trumpeter kit docking bridge, but I'm going to change it midway through. Once it arrives, I'll be showing a video on how I do that. And then I also just decided to order the 3D printed not deck chairs, but benches from Gene Davis over at B&B BScaleShipJewelry. So as soon as they arrive, I'll be able to show them, and we'll kind of go from there. A couple videos back, I talked about the photo etching that I do. So right there, you can see some of my white Star Line glasses. I do sell them on my page. So if anybody's interested in a set of white Star Line glasses, they are available. So anyhow, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so while I was off camera here, I went ahead and put my vents on. They're all right there where they belong, and also got our steam cranking levers, whatever you want to call them. They're the China 3D ones, which are really well done. They even have the little handle on the top there. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's not really focusing enough to see it, but anyway, they're there. So next up is going to be the the docking bridge. So I went ahead and put our brass rods on here from the KA kit. So I'm going to paint the bottom white. Then I went ahead and drilled holes here, 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 and here, and then one up in the front there for our lighting, because we're going to light this up. And what my plan is to run the wires inside of here, well, not inside, but on top here, and then cover it with the scale decks. So I'll still paint the top black, I'm going to paint the bottom white, and then drill a hole up through here also. This is where the doorway to the inside there mounts on, and we'll run the wires up inside. So I'm going to go ahead and get that painted up a while, and in the meantime, after that's drying, probably start to do some benches. So I got to paint them up as well. I guess I got two more vents to do right up here, so I got to figure out which number they are. But poop deck is really coming around, so we're getting close on this part. Okay, so what we've done now, we got our little standees, or whatever you want to call them there. I still got to put the thing that goes around it and kind of holds the crane down with the chains, but they're there. I got my docking bridge wired, like I was talking about. So drilled the holes out, ran the wires up the top and then back down the bottom, and then they're going to come straight down in through the holder here. And there's quite a lot of wires, obviously, because we got five lights on this docking bridge. Now what I'm going to try to do is get them all around the same length to put them all through, and then pull them from there, just because otherwise they're going to kind of make a mess. And I can kind of wrap it like that a little bit to try to help it go down straight. Okay. problem is there's also a hole drilled through the deck, so I need this basically to pull through. If this doesn't work, which it might not, my next option is going to be just to attach a piece of brass rod to it and then pull it through that way, which we might be doing. We got partial, but I still got a couple wires that did not come through. So hopefully I can get these to go through now at this point. Now there's 5 wires here, so these are all going to be one circuit. The back light that will go on the fence right over here, that will be on the circuit with the lights that are underneath the poop deck here. We got one to go. I just need this last one to come through. Got one more. Okay. Oh, I got a black wire yet to go. I think I got all the rest of them at this point. Oh no, I still got that one there. And these are different lengths also because of how far they are, so that makes it a bit more challenging yet, just to feed them all through. It probably, in all reality, would have been just easier to wrap these and run it through on a piece of brass rod or wire, but whatever, we're almost there at this point. Yep, got that one through. Okay. And we got one more wire. So once I get that done, I can glue the docking bridge down and then put the scale deck on it. From there, all that really will be left for the poop deck is the railings and the benches. So we're getting close on that. Okay, so I'm going to put just some glue on the bottom of the poles here. And I'm going to put some glue around the pieces that support it. Okay, so it should essentially get us there. Some of these poles are kind of keeping it up in the air a little bit here, so I gotta figure that out quick before we start to harden up too much. Okay, so basically, there we go. We got the docking bridge pretty much there. Alright. So, that's going to finish that section of it. So, next up, like I said, scale decks are going to go on, and then we'll start doing a little bit more detailing. Okay, so a couple things here while I'm letting some paint dry. Going to start putting the railing around here. Like I said earlier, I am literally going to basically have the poop deck completely finished off to the point that it basically will be when the model's assembled. So that way, I kind of figure, like I said, it's going to basically just, it's going to come on and off anyhow. So it's going to really do no harm having it to that point and all of that stuff, because as I build it in sections, it will basically just go all together, and I don't have to worry about knocking my hands around onto it or anything like that. So I have the benches right now, they're drying with the paint. For the wood, I used a lifelike color called Wood, pretty basic there, and it really came out good. So I'll show them once I get this part done. But railings are painted and clear coated already, so they are basically going to be ready to go. Just cutting them out now to get them prepped. So the other thing that I started doing, and I'm not going to have them installed for this video, because basically this video I want to get the benches on and I want to get the railings on and pretty much call it done. But I did also start breaking out some of the people to paint them. So there the people are. So that's basically what this is going to look like for the last little portion of the video here. Is, like I said, getting the benches and the railings on. I will show how to bend the KA ones. I know China 3D, it's not China 3D actually, but the benches in 3D print just became available. I don't know, I might use them in some places throughout the build. Haven't decided yet. I want to kind of see how the photo etch ones actually bend together. I've had mixed success with photo etch benches in the past on the 1350 Titanic, but these are a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna give them a shot anyway. And I might end up ordering the 3D ones anyway, but we'll see what happens here. So let me go ahead and work on getting these cut out, and then we'll go ahead and put them on and have them installed. Be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and got the first fences on, as you can see here. They're turning out perfectly fine. No real issues with them that I can see. Gotta kind of work them a little bit around the corners, but other than that, they're not bad. This one here might need a little bit more finessing, but they're pretty straightforward to put on. I did use my CA accelerator. That does drastically help, so when you do this, I highly recommend accelerator. But anyway, gonna finish up correcting this right here, work on painting some more people, and then we'll start the benches. Okay, so I'm working on some benches. This is a slow process, especially because I sold my KA what do you call it, forming tool that basically would shape these for me, so I'm having to do it kind of by hand. So what I'm doing is I'm using tweezers and my blade here to kind of form the shape of the bench. So you want it basically to have a fold down at both ends, both the top and the bottom, So basically just kind of folding it over a little bit so it gets that shape on both ends. Okay. Okay, so I got that. Now you can kind of see that there is a fold down, just like that. Now, right around about the middle point, I'm taking the back edge of the blade and folding it to basically shape the bench. Okay, so now we got a bench shape. That is working. Next up, and I'm doing these in sets of 2 because they go back to back on the poop deck. So now I'm dipping into my CA glue as so, or as such, and then dropping down onto the bench end. Now the hard part with these, you can't go too low or it'll be too high in the center. So you basically have to try to get it so that all 3 legs are going to be the same. Okay. I'm going to dip in that side. And do the exact same thing over here. These are a challenge, these benches. I kind of knew they were going to be, but I'm not particularly enjoying them. Like I said, for the rest of the build, I'm probably honestly going to end up buying the KA benches, or not the KA, but the 3D printed benches, just because this is absolutely insane. Okay. Every time you get one right where you think it's going to be right, it's not. And then you have to flip them over and play this whole game. Okay, try again. The first 2 or 4, I'm sorry, the first set of 4, I ran kind of under the top of the docking bridge, just so I'd have some experimentation done. I mean, they look great once they're done. They do look fantastic, so I'm not knocking that. The detail on them is really good, but the usability and workability, I guess that's the better word for it, is quite challenging. Okay, So there we go. Got one essentially done. And then if you set it down, you can make sure you're on a level point, which I pretty much think I am. I'm close anyway. It bows to the center, or to the one side just a little bit, but I'll be able to kind of manipulate that once I get it onto the deck with the other one back to back. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this, and then I'll show putting it onto the deck, and then pretty much we'll wrap up this video, because I got a lot more benches to build, and it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. This one seems to be going better already. So maybe I'll build this one and have a little bit more success than I did with my first one there. I have a bad habit of not using a PA bender, or PE bender. I am going to have to probably start using it more for this as we go. But this is working so far. Biggest thing with these is getting it high enough, because if you're not high enough, the center will sit too high on it. The CA accelerator also is helpful in this quest of doing things. I definitely used accelerator on the install of these onto the deck. So basically, I'm going to get this one done. I'll glue it onto the deck quick, and then we'll wrap up the video. In between videos, I'll work on finishing these, because there's still probably another 12 to build, I believe. And then the next video will begin the forecastle deck. The right height, just need to get it straight. Okay. Yep, there we go. Okay, so as you can see, I got my first set back here. This set is going to go right up between the first and second vent here. So doing these, what I've been doing is putting some CA down running the feet across the bottom. And then dropping it in. And if I have to add a little bit more glue, then I can dip it with the toothpick method. The other piece that I went ahead and made was my under the crane support. So that is built and assembled. Okay, well, I lost that one. Gotta redo it. That's why the center got underneath there of the other bench. Now, one little call out too is that vent right there is not dead center, so don't try to center it. I did that when I was testing and noticed that it was wrong earlier. I lost my center section. Alright, so anyway, I gotta find, oh, it's stuck to my thumb. Okay, so I gotta redo that, and then we're gonna wrap up after I attach this one. I know this video has turned out a little bit longer, but we covered a lot in this one, so apologize for the length. My work phone is blowing up at me. And the other thing you could actually do is a dip of CA glue along the top of the benches where they connect. I did do that under the docking bridge. Trying to avoid it here just because I don't want to have visible glue if I can avoid it. Alright, so I'm going to just... Okay, so I decided to go ahead and order the 3D benches, so they are now on order. I'm not going to go any farther with these at this point. There's no real point. And I also decided to order a 3D docking bridge because I'm not really that happy with this one. This video obviously showed, you know, how to put this together and how to put the benches together, which will be useful, I'm sure, to some people out there if they decide to go that route. But I'm choosing to go with 3D stuff just because I don't know. I mean, the benches look okay, but they're not perfect, and it's going to annoy me. So I'd sooner just get those. Now, what I'm doing right now is cutting out the photo etch for the crane stays, basically. I don't know if that's what they're actually called, but these get attached to the crossbar that runs underneath the crane booms. So I'm going to put them on quick because they will have no effect on any of this stuff. But essentially, once I get these on, I got to put the stays down on this one too, and on that one, and then that will probably wrap up this video. I know I think I said that earlier in this, but this video ended up turning into 2 different parts of videos just because of the length of how long it was ending up becoming. So we're getting close to the end of this segment as well. And then what I think the next video will encompass then is the forward well deck and the forecastle. Okay. So this has little spots on the cross beam where they kind of fit into. So they're pretty easy. Just 2 90-degree bends and a little bit of CA glue, and you are there. So nothing major here to deal with. But till these other parts come in, and I just ordered them today, so we will come back then and revisit the poop deck detail, and that will give me some time to paint up some passengers and all that good stuff to get them 100% ready. But in the meantime, I'll end up putting the deck onto the hull so it doesn't get bounced around or bumped around or anything like that and damaged. And then as soon as that stuff comes, we'll jump back to the poop deck wherever we're at in the build at that point. Okay. So the other thing that we'll do in this video here before we end it is put the crane ladders on. I didn't do them yet. I gotta paint them up quick, but that should not take very long. And those crane ladders go on all 4 of these cranes, so one goes here, one goes here, one goes back here, and one goes back here. So I'm going to paint up the parts for this and those ladders real fast, and we will be right back. Okay, so the little clamps that go on the cranes are fun. So they're this big, and they basically just bend down as a 90, and another 90. So you end up with that. Then you're going to just basically dip it in some CA and put it right over the crane. And we're going to put a little bit more CA on that one side there because it just isn't quite where I want it. And there. And put some accelerator on it. Okay. So there we go. We got those on. We got those on. Now we're going to do our little ladders here that go on the cranes, on the bases here. So these get bent so that the little handle sticks into the side of the crane. So for that, I'm just using my tweezer and doing a 90. Okay. And the same thing on the top or the bottom. I guess it depends on which side it ends up on, huh? Okay. Now, I just want to make sure the crane's not, or the ladder is not crooked in any way, which it kind of got for a second, but I got it straightened out now. And we're just going to dip the two ends, the handles there, where we just took them and bent them, into our CA. And they go right onto the side under the little handle that's on the crane base. No. All right, try that again. Okay, so we got one on. Put the other one on, and one of my handles, unfortunately, on this one got broken off through either painting or moving it around. It came on there, my fault, but I can take a piece of the KA set, because that actually does come with the handles, and simply replace it on there. So not too big of a deal. That's one thing I'm going to say for anybody that gets the China 3D stuff. The detail is fantastic, but you have got to handle it with kit gloves. I guess that's the word. It is very easily breakable. I mean, just like any model piece potentially could break. You just got to be very careful with it. It is fragile. It is well known that it is fragile. So ultimately, just be careful with it when you're cutting it, when you're handling it. It is great stuff. It has good quality to it, but to get that level of detail, things have got to be thin and small, and you have got to be careful and respect the fact that it is that small. To be able to even get the print quality that we get on these from 3D is quite amazing. So just got to make sure you're handling it with that respect, I guess you'd say. Okay. Now these little shiny spots that are getting left from glue when I do these little touch-ups and stuff like that, they will all disappear once I go back over it with some dull coat. And I've already hit it a couple times here and there, and it's having no effect on the decks or anything like that. So even the paper for the carpet hasn't been affected. Okay, beautiful. This one, I wish I would have put on prior to setting the crane base, because I had a feeling this was going to be a challenge back here, and it is. And of course, I lost it. I'll try going in on it kind of sideways and putting glue on the crane base first. That worked better. Okay, just put a little touchdown on the bottom there. Giddy up. We'll do the last one. And those handles up here, I need to paint them white actually. I currently have them gray just because that's what they were when I painted the base of the crane, but they should be white. So I'll go back in and retouch that next time I have some white paint out with the brush. Okay. Just about perfect. Alright, so right from the front side of doing this, I'm going to put glue on the crane base since I learned on the other side. There we go. Okay, so those are on. That, I think, at this point, is pretty much going to end this video. Like I said, we're going to replace this, and we're going to replace the benches with the China 3D. I'm sorry, yeah, no, they're not China 3D, but they're on the Trumpeter 1/200th Facebook page, not the China 3D one, so my mistake. But they are available from BScaleShipJewelry. That's who it is. I apologize for that, Gene. So once they get here, I'll be kind of showing them off and how they look. I do think they're going to be drastically better than the current rendition. This railing, it's been bugging me, so I'm going to kind of do an adjustment on that as well. And what I'm doing, there's a small little like expansion in there. It just was not quite lining up by not even 1/8 of an inch, so I'm going to try to correct that real quick. And I kept hanging up on it with the tools as I was going through here, so I have to rebend that rail just a little bit. But there we go. So we're going to put that back on. You know what, I think before I close out this video, I'm going to do one more thing, and that is the little stairways here that go down to the well deck. Might as well get them on. I'm not going to put the one obviously onto the bridge, the docking bridge, because there'd be no point in that, but this one can get put on, which is why I decided to fix this railing quick. Hopefully. There we go. I do believe these rails get caps. I gotta double check. I know some of the ones up here later get caps. These may or may not. I'm not 100% positive. So there might be brown wooden caps that go on there. But yeah, let me paint up the little staircases that go up here, and I'll be right back. Okay, here is my staircases. I did paint them with a light white. I know it's going to end up getting kind of messed up once I start bending, so I just wanted to kind of have a base there. So what I'm going to do is brush paint the stair itself. Now, I've seen different pictures of this, and they're kind of a reddish brown wood. So for this, I'm using a darker rust, or not rust, but a darker brown. Actually, it's a red. It's whole red. No, it's not whole red. It's what the heck is this? Cocoa brown. Whole red. Same thing. So that one's by Mr. Hobby, right there. So I'm going to paint the stair and the wooden rafter. Now the outside, from what I could see in most pictures, looks like it's white. The inside looks like it's brown. I want to double check that in Ship Magnificent, but from what I'm seeing, it kind of looks like it's going to be this way. Now the steps are wood, and then they have a like a tread type thing on them that is going to be in gray. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back and do that. Then we'll cut these out and get them bent up and installed. So I don't really, it's not that I really want to be brush painting these, but taping it off would be pretty insane. So this is how I'm going to roll. Now, like I said, I want to double check Ship Magnificent for some actual pictures, but Honor and Glory has the side rails as brown or wood color. I just want to make sure that they're correct, because I thought I've seen pictures of it white before, like I said. But I will paint mine whichever way I find in Ship Magnificent. I'm at least getting the stairs painted before I go and check that, because they're going to need longer time to dry anyway, since I'm painting over them in white or in gray. This is actually the bottom of the step tread, so they don't exactly have to be perfect on the bottom. Alright, so let me go check that out, and I'll be right back. Okay, I did confirm it. They are dark on both sides, so I'm going to just let that dry, and then I'll paint the runners in. We'll get these cut out and installed. So give that a few minutes and I'll be back. Okay, so here are the steps painted up, and I'm going to go ahead and cut them out and bend them up. These can be a little bit tricky, but they're not too bad, all in all. So just trying to make sure I get all the sprues cut so I don't accidentally bend something that I don't want to. Because these railings, once you misshape them, they're not the easiest to get back. So there's an inside and an outside, like I said before. So this is our inside. So what I'm going to do is take my knife here and just basically bend it up 90 degrees. Okay. Now on the other side, I'm just going to use a tweezer, I think. There it is. You just basically need something that's straight to do this. If you have one of those nice little fancy photo etch benders, you can always use them too. Alright, so now we got that, which obviously is a staircase, but the stairs don't step. They're just flat, like a slide. So what I generally do is start at the top, grab the first one, and just bend it up. And this will give you the room later as you're going down too far. And you only get like 1 or 2 shots at this before they break, so you gotta be careful. The tweezer's not fitting in. Try this one. No, nor is that one. Which is strange because I've done these before. I bet I used a different tweezer. Hold on. Let me try these. There we go. So now you can see I'm just basically flipping it up so that it is a stair. Okay, and the last one we usually do from the front. This one needs to get repositioned. There we go. So now we have a step, and they look like real steps. So I'm going to do the other one, then we'll glue them onto the deck, and then we're going to pretty much call this video a wrap. So hopefully the docking bridge comes fairly quick and we can redo the wiring in there and get the new one installed. I am very much looking forward to seeing the difference in this one that I'm going to use, but I'm pretty sure it'll be great. And I think the Trumpeter one would have worked fine if I wasn't trying to light it up like I am. So, you know, if you're not going to this crazy level of detail, I think you'd be perfectly fine with the kit supplied docking bridge. But I want more. Come on. It's that one. Okay. So almost there. All right. Let me just bend out my step here. Okay. There we go. Now once I get this on the deck, I may have to do some touch-up work with it, but that's not really too big of a deal. So, oops. So what I'm going to do with these is basically just a little bit of CA at the top here. Right. Okay. So that is pretty much now going to wrap up this episode, and I have already started shooting the forecastle, so that's underway already. Little sneak peek, but yeah, this is where we're at right now, and definitely thinking we're moving along pretty nicely. So we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching, and please consider giving a like and subscribe. Would love to have you on the channel long term.